Oh, yeah, baby. Nanatsu no taizai, seven deadly sins is heating up. Brandino Wolfensteino. So we come back to Nanatsu no taizai. And of course, where we last left off in 143, Bon is at the brink, ready to slap some fools around a little bit, because his girl Elaine just got her soul tainted, and he had to pull her back from the void to show that his love remains ever brighter. But Garen and nyscrilla are the two worst people for him to have met. So the chapter basically opens up and Bond's like, shirtless, kung fu ready, and he does his little force grab and pulls out his three sections staff or spear. It looks like a spear. Well, it has pointed tips. But yeah, it's a 3-section staff. If you've ever seen them in new movies, they're like you have the 2 handles and there's like the bar that goes across their back, and they kind of use it. It's basically used like nunchucks, but there's just a third part to it, so it gives you more reach. But it's basically just like an extended version of nunchucks, also while being used somewhat as a staff as well. That's why it's called a 3-section staff. But he breaks out his 3-section, starts cracking these fools. And then, well, actually, he didn't even start yet. Garen of Truth flies in and does this destructive, like, ground annihilating slash. I mean, you saw the hills into the distance was just split the whole ground. And it's like, for these people to have this much power, 1, it's crazy. 2, for the fact that they're slicing the planet, which I'm wondering how deep that slice actually went, because it makes me think of like back in the day with Dragon Ball Z when you had like Frieza doing his slicing things and he would like literally slice the earth. Like, how far does that slice really go? Because sometimes it seems like they really be slicing the whole planet. And it's like, if they really did, basically they would hit the core. But I feel like even though it looks intensely powerful, it's really not that strong. So like, I think like when he sliced it, it went pretty far, but it would be like from my house to maybe like 3 miles down, and the slice would probably end. But it's just, in the grand scheme of the planet, it's really just like having like a paper cut. But anyway, so Garen thinks he took him down, and he's like, so that's all this little puny person has? And nyscrilla's like, well, why did you kill him? I wanted to ask him some questions. He's like, well, I don't want to waste any time. We should have went after Meliodas after he cracked me in my face. Anger. So, of course, Bond gets up. Shouldn't have did that. And they're like, how are you still alive? He's like, I'm Bond the Undead. I don't die, and there's nothing you can do to kill me. So I guess it's time to get to work. Like, I don't know if he's really saying it like that, but that's the only thing I could think of with the little musical notes. So he starts going in. They're beating him up a little bit. Like, he's taking some blows, and I think he gets Garen back, but it wasn't too much power. And Garen's like, it's time to end this, because nyscrilla was trying to do some moves and he was dipping all hers, like, boxing status, and was trying to go for the blow. But of course, like any character that has I don't want to say an anthropomorphic creature. It's more just like a life form that kind of surrounds them. If you think of like Gaara or from Naruto, or just any character that has some form, maybe Jotaro with the ripples, any character that has like an extra entity around them that can protect them at all times, these characters are mostly annoying, because it's like, you really want to get in there and crack them, but you have to be faster than their thing can move. Because once you get in there, you got to be able to knock them out, because they're controlling it, but it's protecting them so that they're not, like, they don't lose their grip. But anyway, he's trying to go after her. Garen comes in with this mean backhand and like destroys the crap out of Blonde's head. So I'm thinking like, and this is like zombie logic. You kill a zombie or a vampire or anything that's supposedly undead, you cut off the head, it's dead. That ain't Bond. So like he falls down and he like comes back up and his head's like sizzling and he's like, kind of tickled. It's like, so cool. So then Garen's like, you know what? You're just a mere human. I'll give you one free shot. Because he's getting cocky. Because he forgot, I think Meliodas broke something in his mind after that last punch. Because, he forgets that these are the 7 deadly sins. They are strong. Do not sleep on them. They are powerful. Like, just because y'all the 10 commandments and y'all came back with God knows however much power, y'all still got to collect y'all souls to get back up to the top. They are, one by one, reaffirming their power. Which, where is Diane? Where? I miss her. Anyway, so Garen's like, give me your best shot. And then he's like, you sure you want to do that? Garen's like, I'll never lie. I always tell truth. You pathetic humans won't be able to do anything to me. So he's like, all right. So he's like, soul! Basically just unlocks, like the original thing, that the full hunt or soul hunt that he did before on Meliodas to kind of snatch some of his strength and use it in his own body. He basically did that, like a more powerful version, and kind of sapped the strength from everything in basically at 100-meter radius, which you get told by narration from nyscrilla. But anyway, he does that. Hits Garen with this mean high kick. I'm talking about heel into the gut. I had to do it with my hand because I don't want to lift my leg. My leg can't go that high. But I could kick high, but not that high. But anyway, mean kick to the gut. And now Garen's like double. And then Bond's like, boom! It just like cracks him through the mountain. And he's like, I'm sorry, you were open. Like, he's sitting there playing around with him. And I'm like, yo, Bond just cracked him. So, what sucks is that the entire time while this fight is going on, nyscrilla is like analyzing this. And I'm like, oh no. She's trying to figure out a way to take him down. And she was saying like, you were the worst person to come here, Garen, because you are raw strength. So you don't have any magic or something else that could probably pinpoint what his power is. So you just he is basically your exact opposite. Whatever you're trying to dish out, he can take it from you and dish it back to you while you're in a weakened state. So it's like, you were probably not the best person to come here. But I think we figured out his power. Because then she starts egging Bond on and is like, if you're able to sap energy, how come you don't just take all of his power and kill him that way? So then I'm like, oh no, a chink in the mail. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, oh, don't tell me Bond has a limit. Well, I mean, because he's undead. So I'm thinking like, even if he goes past his limit, he's not going to die. But then I thought like, well, or it might work as if he goes past his limit, it might start to affect his like regenerative ability. So it's like if he goes any further past, he's not going to be able to do anything. And then they also started to notice that he was like getting a little light of breath. It was starting to take his toll. Him pulling in that power was starting to take his toll, and nyscrilla was seeing all of that. So in the next chapter, which is 145, because we're doing a double here, nyscrilla figures that stuff out, and it was so sad because, which I thought Elaine was actually dead. I thought she was like dead again, but I guess she just passed out, and Bond was pissed because she was hurt. But what happens is after that, nyscrilla kind of grabs Bond up into this giant orb, and I'm like, oh crap. Now she has basically home field advantage. So they're inside of there, and she's of course doing the little thing where like he's waiting, he's looking around, and she'll come behind him. What you saying, Bond? Oh, and then like he'll be looking around. She'll be like, and he's like trying to get her, but she keeps like dipping around and popping all over the place in her little world of like whatever. And And then she basically reveals, like, the handicap of his power. Spoilers, of course. But you know I spoil everything. So you should know from day one. But anyway. So she reveals that if Bond were to die, his soul would pass on. But if his soul were to die, you know, his body would just be an empty shell. So, which at first I'm like reading and I'm like, does this make sense? Because he can't die, so his soul will never, like, his soul could never really pass on. But then she was saying, but if his soul dies, which means she has an ability that can take his soul out of his body, you know, he's just a husk now, and like everything that he is his soul. So it's like if you take that, you know, now you have control over this undead body that also has an ability to sap energy, and it's like it's like a double-edged sword. So it's like so then, like, she's flying around and she catches him, and I'm like, no. So Bond's soul starts leaving his body, and of course, you know, this is in a time where they don't really understand what souls are. So it's just like this white orb coming out, and you see Bond's life just flashing before him. Elaine tries to do something to save him, but Garen comes up and freaking deals the final chomp. Which I'm thinking, like, as he's biting into Bond's soul, he's like biting into it, but he hasn't actually devoured it yet. So I don't know if like Bond's soul is fighting against him. And Meliodas, of course, in the background, you see Meliodas and like Dreyfus. Wait, no, not Dreyfus. The other guy that was like a demon for like a while, and now he's good. But you see Meliodas and them at a bar, and Meliodas automatically like senses like Bond needs me. So I'm hoping that in chapter 146. Meliodas comes and slaps the crap out of Garen and shoves Bond's soul back into his body, because right now it's looking like Bond is really about to become part of Garen, which is going to be the worst. But I don't know what's going to happen. I'm scared, man. And we still don't know where Diane's at. Where's Diane? Anyway, so that's all for my review. Comment down below, subscribe all over here, and don't let the fact that Bond's soul was stolen from his chest just as he got the love of his life back get you down, because the dawn always rises on a new day. That thing would be to subscribe. So last week's Nanatsu no taizai, the Love Edition, and Toriko, Wisdom Wednesdays, Boku no, Ansatsu. I think the Ansatsu that I'm going to post here is going to be the Ansatsu that's the new one, which is all of the love connections. Shingeki, Enin, Radiant, and if I can fit in here, I'm going to throw One Punch Man in here as well. The anime, I got to watch episode 2, and I think if they dropped episode 3 yet, I don't know, but I got to review that as well. And then when are they going to update the manga? But, you know, whatever. So, in medium level of the stomach, click subscribe, buy those manga. Catch you later.